Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Erin O'Brien. I am a Thermix consultant and team leader based in Druin in Victoria. And tonight, our team, the Mixmasters, who are consultants all over Victoria, are bringing you this class all about our brand new TM7. So as you're aware, our TM7 is the only Thermomix that is now available for sale in Australia. It has come off pre-order. And we are well and truly in our TM7 era, which we are all very excited about. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to show you a little bit more about it, start some cooking in it for our first class, and hopefully answer any questions that you guys might have. So please, I would love you to pop in the chat box where you're watching from tonight, and what perhaps do you have a Thermomix? Have you pre-ordered the TM7? Has your TM7 been dispatched? We've seen a few dispatches happening in the last or since yesterday, so that's exciting. Or if you don't have one, or you have a TM6, pop in the chat box and let us know. But we are going to head straight over to Jess, who is going to get us cooking. Actually, before we do that, I might just show you a little bit about it on the screen first, and then we'll go over to Jess. So I'm going to go over to a different camera, and this is our beautiful TM7. So as you know, very obviously, it is a very different shape, much more sleek design. It is a matte black in colour. And just to clarify, because we know we've got lots of little questions, because sometimes it looks a little bit different on camera to what it's in real life. These are not vent holes or anything. They're just little decorative kind of, what's the word? They're not grooves, opposite of grooves. They stick up. So that has been a question that's come up a lot. But this is our home screen of our TM7. It is customizable, so you can change it around to whatever you like. So I have it set for, or I chose like the organization kind of setup. So that has my week and my daily recipes planned out. And so you can see we had the marry me chicken pasta for dinner tonight. Then we're going to have sweet and sour pork tomorrow night. And as part of this setup as well, I can go into my full week setup. I've got the pre-clean option over here. So you can just tap straight into them. And as you can see, for those of you who have a TM6 or a previous model, the visuals and the images on it are incredible compared to the other ones. And then we've got manual mode. So again, if you have a different model Thermomix, you are used to having the time, temperature, and speed on your home screen. And this is where they are in your TM7. So they're just, it's just a little bit different in how they work, in that we tap them and we scroll up and down on them rather than using the knob to change them. What else can I show you? And then we've got some tutorials and help. And then from there, we scroll down. I've got my bookmarks. So these are the recipes that I've bookmarked in there, my recently cooked section, and then a few kind of recipe inspiration and ideas. So some trending recipes and some baked goods as well. So this is the home screen. Again, very customizable. You can change it around to what you prefer. If you'd like to see, instead of your week, you might like to see some different ideas and inspiration for the day. You can set it to have that as well. On the left-hand side, we have all of our kind of different tabs that we can choose to open up. So we're on the home screen now. The next one is the search, and that's going to bring up Cookie-Doo for you. So you can search exactly like the app from there, or you can search like on your computer as well. It all works exactly the same, and it is very responsive on the TM6. So it's almost, I mean, it's the size of and almost like using a bit of an iPad, really. And then the next one down is your recipes, or in this case, my recipes. So you might be able to see across the top, we've got recently cooked, my bookmark recipes, my recipe lists, collections. So then it's got, the couple of collections I've saved, and creative recipes as well. So they're those recipes that I've imported either from the recipe community or added into Cookie-Doo myself. And then if we continue down the side, we bring up our mode section with the little blades. So there are a few different modes that you might notice in here if you have a TM6. The first one obviously is the manual, so you can set your time, temperature, and speed from there. And then if you come across, you might see the browning mode as well. So this is our high heat mode, which previously on the TM6 was only available in specific guided cooking recipes. But as I'm going to show you tonight, it is available now as a built-in mode that you can choose to use whenever you like. And we also have steaming, which is how we're going to set a varoma temperature to steam things that are in the varoma or the simmering basket. And another new one is the open cooking, which Jess is going to showcase for us tonight as well, which means essentially cooking with no lid. So that's all the tabs. The last one down the bottom just has your week as well. Like if you wanted it again in their settings, your cookie dough profile and that kind of thing. But we might get cooking. We'll come back and have a little bit look at a little bit more at the TM7 shortly. If you have any questions as we're going, please pop them in the chat box. We obviously want this to be as informative as possible. So pop your questions in there, and whether it's myself, one of the girls cooking, or another member of our team in the chat, we will help you out. But let's go over to Jess.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess. I am Thermolife on the Farm on socials. And tonight I will be cooking the Marry Me chicken pasta, so the TM7 version of it. So I'll just move my camera down a little bit. It's a little bit hard to see with the lights over there. I haven't quite perfected the screen here, but like Erin said, I have mine the same with my week showing at the top here. So I'm just going to go into there and search for this recipe that I've already got bookmarked. So we'll get that one up. You can see here that the recipe is much bigger on your screen. It's a little bit of different layout. You can scroll down and still see all of your steps of your recipe and your hints and tips, but you can also, there's like a little heading down the bottom here, and you can just go straight to the ingredients or the steps or the tips. But we will just get cooking. So you just press start. And you'll notice that the layout on the screen is just a little bit different when it does load. Here we go. So we're going to place in the Parmesan cheese. So I will just tear the scales there. We pop the Parmesan cheese in. So I needed 80 grams. I've got 71 grams. Close enough. I wasn't going to open another packet just for this. So I can just tick that off. We can go next. And now we're just going to grate it. So it's asking me here to put the lid back on. So you'll notice there's no locking arms. The lid is held on by by really strong magnets. So now we're going to do 5 seconds on speed 8. So the difference here is without a dial, it's already pre-populated our time and our speed. And all we need to do here is just press the play button. So you will notice, you might not be able to hear that, but there is a new sound, which is very cool. You might notice that everyone's talking about how it is quieter, and it is with the insulated bowl, but when you're grating hard cheeses like Parmesan and hard veggies and that, it's still going to be loud. So we're just going to transfer that to a bowl and set aside. Okay. Let's move this back a little bit here. You've noticed there's a different shaped spatula as well. It's a much bigger spatula now. And so this is great for scraping down all the sides of the bowl in one go. You'll also find that, notice there's no collar on there anymore on the spatula, because there is no hole in the lid anymore. So you do use it a bit differently now. So I've got the grated Parmesan, we'll set that aside, and we'll just go to next. All right, we're just going to rinse and dry the mixing bowl. I'm not going to bother. It's just a little bit of cheese. It'll be fun because I've only got one bowl, so we'll just keep going. So I'm just going to go next through that. Just like all normal guided cooking, it doesn't know whether you, you can still just use it as a guide. So now we're going to do 2 garlic cloves. So I'll just pop those in. And then we've got sun-dried tomatoes. So we need 100 grams of that. So I'll just measure that in. Has anyone made this Marry Me chicken pasta before? The recipe has been on Cookie Dough for a little while now. It is delicious. All right, so it needs 100 grams. You might be able to see here that it actually will tick itself off if you do get close to the amount. and we'll go on to the next one. And so then we need a red capsicum cut into pieces. So I've just cut my capsicum up into small pieces here. Need 180 grams. And again, I only had about 130 grams, so I'm going to call that all good. You'll notice too with the screen, you don't actually need dry hands. You can still touch it if the screen's wet, which is amazing. Because I, for one, am a messy cook, and I really annoys me when I have to keep drying my hands all the time. Put in some salt and some ground black pepper. Put that in as well. Take that off. And then we go to next. So it's really great now that all the ingredients are actually all on the screen at the same time. And you just tick them off other than pressing next through every step. So again, now we're just going to saute. So we've got 4 minutes on the 160 degrees. So we are using the high heat, but it's just calling it sauteing now. It's not, it's just got the degrees here at 160. And we're just going to press play and let it go. So it'll still be using the same way the high heat does. It'll stir it and then it'll stop. If you can hear it or not, it's stopped now, and it will go from there.
Awesome. And we will see, we'll come back later and be able to see, but that green light that is slowly flashing away on the Thermomix, that's going to change. Yes. So that is actually at the top of the screen and then reflects
just up
onto
here.
the bowl. And that changes as the temperature of the bowl heats up as well. So it will go to orange and then to red to let us know the contents of the bowl are hot, which is pretty cool. So, all right, we are going to head over to Adele now, who's going to get her dish cooking.
Hello, I'm Adele. For those that don't know me, on socials, I'm homemakerhaven.blog. And tonight I'm going to be showcasing the Varoma with some steamed bao buns. So I'm just going to move my machine across for a minute to show you the difference in our Varomas between the TM6 and the TM7. Obviously, there's a color difference. The black is now to match our TM7. But in terms of size, we are looking at 45% more capacity. So almost an extra half. So you can see that we've gone from the oval shape to a rectangular shape, which obviously makes a big difference in just creating that extra space in the corners. So our first layer, there's quite a bit more space there, which is what I've noticed so far. And we're a family of 5 full-time, 7 part-time with an extra one on the way. So obviously fitting more in, especially with layered cooking, is a big deal for our family. So if you are a big family or if you like batch cooking, having a larger Varoma has already been a bit of a game changer. And I can see how it will continue to be the case for us moving forward. So we'll pop those to the side. We'll get my machine back. A beautiful TM7. So we are making the bao buns. I've got this recipe up here. I'm not actually following the filling. I've pre-made some filling to show later because I'm just focusing on our steaming tonight. But I'm also going to show you kneading in the TM7 because it is quieter. It does look a bit different than for those that have experience with kneading in a TM6. So I'll also get this out of the way for a second. So as just mentioned, it looks a little bit different on the screen. You don't have to then press next, next, next. We're just following whatever we have on hand first. So I've actually got my yeast right here. So even though that's the second thing listed, I'm just going to pop it in. This is a really easy recipe to whip up. So I know people have probably bought bao buns before. So I'm going to tick off my yeast and I'm going to put in the 45 grams of sugar. So those that have bought bao buns, you may have tried steaming them in your Varoma before, but actually making the dough yourself is really, really easy. 45 grams, we'll tick that off. So I'm not doing it in order, so it wasn't aware that I was doing the sugar, so it's not self-ticking for me, but that's all right. So now we're doing our water. You can see that it's tiered in between ingredients. So what are we doing? 185 grams. And try to not go over. There we go, close enough. There we go, ticking off for us all by itself. Lid's going to go back on. And we're mixing for 5 seconds on speed 4. That's just to incorporate the sugar and the yeast. Oops, I've pressed skip. Excuse me. That's to incorporate. If you do scroll ahead or you press next accidentally, the 3 little dots here, you can select that as your current step. And oh, I've already pressed skip. Nope, I'm pressing play. That's why. We're still learning alongside you guys. I'm thinking of pressing next there. So I'm going to press play. 5 seconds on speed 4 to incorporate the sugar and the yeast into the water before we add our flour and oil and everything else. So you can actually just press anywhere on the screen. You don't have to tick that button. Now we will go next. And we're going in with 400 grams of plain flour. The thing I like about, like, doughs is one of the most common things I make, I think, at home. And the thing I like is that you're not getting all those extra additives and preservatives and things. You know exactly what's going into it. If you've got particular intolerances or things in your family, you can adjust based on the flours that you like to use, or just search on Cookie-Doo. There's lots of different recipes for different allergens and things like that. All right, what else? 45 grams of oil, so it's going to self-tear for us. I'm loving that function. 45 grams of oil. And then baking powder, 1 heaped tablespoon. And then a bit of sea salt. I never measure salt. Just a little pinch. And then we're putting the lid back on. And this is where our kneading begins. So this is 8 minutes, which is quite a lot. If you've made doughs in the Thermix before, a lot of them are around like 2, 3, 4 minutes. So 8 is a lot. But if you were trying to do that by hand, what is it? You times it by 2 or something like that for, or like 1 minute. Oh, I don't know. Jess or Erin's going to have to correct me. I always forget. But kneading by hand obviously takes a lot longer. So we're going to press play. By now you would have been able to hear it in the TM6. It would be making a much louder whirring noise. You would probably already start to see it bouncing around. So that's been a big difference with the TM7. The wider base, because the depth is, it's a longer depth, the distribution of weight is a bit different. So it does, depending on the dough, if it's a really heavy kind of dough, it will wobble around a bit, but I do find that it's much quieter and it's pretty good at keeping things stable on the bench. So I don't know if you can hear anything. Probably not. Very quiet.
We can't really hear anything, but
Yeah,
it genuinely is very quiet, guys.
much quiet. You can hear just like a little, but it's nothing compared to the 6.
Exactly. And there was a question in the chat box about cutting and whether that is a lot quieter too. It depends what it is, Jess.
Yeah.
So like things like the other Jess said before, like hard cheeses like parmesan and things are still noisy. It is a bit quieter, but you still hear them, you know, like, because obviously they're banging around the bowl. But yeah, anything kind of I'd say below speed 5, like it's a significant difference. Would you agree, Adele?
Yes. Yeah, big difference. And thank you, Jess, for clarifying that. I always forget the comparison of hands to thermi.
So 2 minutes of kneading in your Thermomix is about equivalent to about 20 minutes of hand kneading. So I think we can all agree that we don't have time to be kneading the equivalent of 8 minutes.
Oh, even just getting your hands dirty, getting the bench dirty.
Absolutely. No one wants to be doing that.
No.
All right, so let's go back to Jess while that is kneading.
All right, cool. So mine is done, and you'll see here that the lights have turned red. I'll also show you here with the spatula. I just had it, I don't know if you can see very well, but it actually stands up on its end now. Where is it? So you can just stand it up so you don't get your bench dirty. You can also lie it down and it does hold it up off the bench as well. But we'll go on. So now our next step is to chop. So that's what it looks like in there. So we've just browned that off in the 4 minutes. All right, now we're just going to chop it for 5 seconds. So yes, I'm trying to stand as close as I can to this, but it is much quieter with the chopping. All right, so that And I've noticed one like chime of the sound is enough for the lid to release as well. So it is locked on for that one chime of the sound. For anyone who is curious about with no locking arms, you do still have to wait for it a little bit to come off. So I'm just going to scrape that down so it looks delicious in there. It's smelling really good. Okay, next. So now we're going to add in the chicken. So like as Adele said, my scales have teared. The lights have gone back to orange. I'm not sure if you can tell very well there, but they've gone back to orange now because obviously a little bit of the heat's come out as I've taken the lid off. So we're just going to put in 500 grams of thigh or breast fillet cut into small pieces. So I'll just pop that in there. I had a little bit over, but again, I wasn't going to leave 50 grams of chicken just because I had too many. So I'll take that one off. And now I'm going to put in the cream. So we'll put in 250 grams of cream. So it will automatically tick itself off if you're within a couple of grams. So there you can see I did get it nearly close. It's going to tick it off. And now we need some water. So we're seeing 400 grams here. Done. Half a teaspoon or 3/4 of a teaspoon of paprika. Okay. Teaspoon of dried herbs. Too much. Put it all in. No, it is asking for chicken stock paste. I don't have chicken stock paste. But I do have my just veggie stock paste that I've made. So I'm just going to use that, which is fine to use. So I just need 1 tablespoon. Pick that off. We'll go next. And now we're going to put the lid back on. So a bit like the TM6 as well, I'll just show you, if you don't actually line up the lid properly, it still knows that the lid's not on properly. Like it might look like it is, but until you actually get it sitting on there properly, now it knows, and now it'll let me press play. So we're just doing 12 minutes at 100 degrees, just on stirring. So I'll let it go. And I'm not sure if the microphone's cutting this out, but I genuinely cannot hear it.
Yeah.
It does make you think that it's not on at all.
I have had to check so many times. It's really hard to get used to.
Yeah, it's actually very quiet. So yes, it is only on the stirring mode, but even on the TM6 you can hear the stirring mode. This one is virtually impossible.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Jess. So, I mean, you really notice one of the main differences while you're cooking, I suppose, if you have a TM6 or a TM5 at the moment, is that as you're cooking the recipe and adding ingredients in, on that one, you were next through all the steps. But this one is just like a continuous, you tick off the ingredients and then you continuously move down the page. So it's kind of a bit more like we're all used to, like scrolling on our phone or our iPad or that kind of thing. So it works very similar in that kind of aspect.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely.
All right, so we'll go back to Adele, who's going to show us how to shape out these bao buns.
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute myself with oily hands. So that's still kneading. It's got just over a minute left. In the meantime, I've taken my dough that I prepared earlier and I've just rolled it out into a log, and I'm cutting about 12 even little segments. So I don't think I have to be too particular here because I'm going to sort of roll and shape them again. But if you've got one of these silicone bread mats, they are amazing. Just make sure you're not using a knife on them. You don't want to cut into them. If you don't have like a dough cutter, you can use your spatula or something like that that's got a soft edge to it. So essentially what we're doing is we're just taking it and where did I put them? We're going to roll them out and then put them on our little baking paper in the Varoma, and that's what they'll steam on. You've probably seen this before in some of those Asian restaurants. But essentially, I've kind of already got like a bit of an oval shape, but I'm just going to roll it out a bit more because I will have to fold them in half. These are by no means going to be, I think I even need to probably shape it into a bit more of a ball, should I say. Might shape it a bit better. And then roll it out. And it doesn't say it on this recipe, I don't think, but I did watch a video of Marion's Kitchen, if anyone knows her. And she said a good tip is to use a bit of extra oil on the top of the bao bun. That was probably a bit too much, but you just want to coat the top of it so that when you fold it over, it's not going to sort of stick to itself when it's steaming. So just a little bit, I probably put a bit too much. And then we're going to fold it over on itself. And then, oily hands now, we're going to roll it out again just to sort of flatten it, even it out. And then it's kind of that little folded over shape. And then it just sits on the baking paper. And they will go straight into the Varoma. We've got the 2 layers that they can sit on. While I'm getting the rest ready, they'll sort of just proof a little bit more, and then I will move on to popping them onto steam in just a bit. So pretty simple.
Yeah, awesome. Do you want to just show us one more?
Yep. So I'm just going to sort of just shaping them into a ball to get a bit of an even texture. Rolling pin. You sort of want like a bit of an oval shape. And then just that little bit of oil. Not too much. This comes out way too quickly. Just on the top there. And then I'm going to fold it over. Roll again. Just to flatten. And then just pop that on the baking paper. These are by no means perfect, but I'm sure they're going to taste good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they look like. Awesome. All right, can you just sing out when you are putting them on, and we'll come back and see them all in the Varoma and everything like that. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to come back over to me now. So I am going to cook a little recipe that I'm just going to show you how you can use high heat manually. So like I said earlier, we're very used to using high heat in our guided cooking recipes, but obviously our TM7, like the TM6, has the ability to import recipes from the recipe community, or once you've converted your own family favorite recipes, you can add them in as well. So now we have the ability to add high heat to those recipes. We're going to kind of level them up a notch as well. So yes, all very excited about that. So my Thermomix timed out while I was off, but here we are back to our home screen. And now I'm just going to go into my recipe book section. And I'm going to go back over into created recipes. So this recipe I have added in tonight. I don't have a picture there, but it's a Thai style chicken and cashews that I'm going to cook. So it's a really quick and easy recipe that, yeah, usually it was, you use temperature kind of 100 to 120 to cook everything. But I'm going to use the high heat mode tonight to saute them a bit higher. Obviously then we're getting to about 160 degrees, which makes a huge difference. So we will get cooking. We're going to hit start. It will look slightly different to the other recipes because this is an imported one and not a Cookidoo one. And this little pop-up is just confirming that. So it's just saying, for those of you who aren't aware, all Cookidoo recipes, they're all like nearly 100,000 of them that are on Cookidoo are triple tested. So we know that we're going to have great success with them every time. But obviously when you import your own recipes, you lose that guarantee. So that is just letting you know that this isn't a Cookidoo recipe that's triple tested during. So I'm just going to accept that. And into the bowl, I'm going to take my lid off. And so like Jess has said, the one I've discovered, that was actually one of my new consultants that pointed this out to me, I didn't realise. One of my new favourite things is that when you take the lid off, it recognises it as well. Oh, it's doing in this one. But you don't have to tear the scales when you're in a guided cooking recipe. So it's just telling us to throw in a couple of garlic cloves. So I'm just popping whole garlic cloves in there. And again, ticking it off like the girls have said. Popping the lid back on. We haven't shown you tonight. This is our new kind of cap, or what used to be the measuring cup that just sits on the top now. And now I'm going to select that 3 seconds, speed 7, and we're just hitting the play button. Accepting that. And like usual, that has chopped that up in 3 seconds for us. So we're going to just hit next again. And as well, it does notice when you take it off as well. So it's noticed that the Thermomix bowl's not there. It's sensing everything now. So it won't let you continue on to do anything unless you pop it on. So now we're going to give that a scrape down with our spatula, just pushing all that garlic down back down towards the base and the blades. And now we're going to add 30 grams of olive oil. Ticking that off. And this time, for this quick little saute, we're just going to do 2 minutes, 100 degrees, and speed 2. So that's all set for us. And then we just hit play, and that'll start. This is, again, very silent. You can just if you're up close to it, you would not be able to hear it through Zoom, even if I held it right up, I don't think. You can just hear kind of the oil moving around a little bit. That's all, the kind of the wetty sound of that. So we've got that 2 minutes. So we might just pop back to Jess and see how she's going there. Oh, she's gone.
Yep, so I have about 3 minutes to go, but you can just, hear that it's all cooking away nicely and the lights have turned back to red again. Just before I'm about to, what I probably could show you though, actually, is I can just take the lid off while it's cooking, but the whole thing just stopped. It stopped the time, it stopped the blades, it stopped everything because I've taken the lid off. And then if I put it back on, it registers that I've put it back on, and now it's started again. So you can, because you can't, I think they've added that in, well, I feel like they've added that in because you can't actually add anything through the measuring cup hole anymore. So when you forget one ingredient or you want to throw something in quickly, if it's under speed 2, you can just take the lid off like that. But it does stop everything. So it's another safety feature there as well.
It's great.
So yeah, so I still have about that 2 minutes, but what I will show you as well, which is a little bit different to the TM6, is if I want to see like the preview button, there's no actual preview button anymore, but we just scroll down like your phone again. It's kind of using that sort of mentality with all of this. So you can scroll down and have a look at the different steps instead of actually pressing the preview and next and all that sort of thing. We still at the top here too have a like our little, I think they're calling it the cook center. So we've got easy access to the timer and to the scales, and it looks like pre-clean up there. So I actually have the timer running on my machine tonight just so that it doesn't turn off. So you know how if you leave it for 15 minutes, it'll turn off, like your TM6 and will turn off. This one will do the same. So I just always have that timer in the background. So if that's a good tip, if you're ever trying to do cooking or you get distracted and come back, it really annoys me when the machine turns off. So I just set the timer for about an hour or however long I think I'm going to be in the kitchen. And then with that running in the background, whether it's for the, if you've got something in the oven, you can set the timer for that, or you can just set it for any sort of alarm. I've even done it for the kids having different time for different toys. I just set, if I'm cooking, I just set 5 minutes on here and it'll chime and let me know that I've got to swap it over. So awesome. That is also another good tip.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. I'm just going to pop my chicken on and then we'll come back to you because you'll be finished as well. All right. So that has finished. And as you can see, again, the red, so the light is along here and it then just reflects up onto the Thermomix. So I'm just going to hit next, and now it is telling us to pop in 500 grams of chicken breast cubed and 3 teaspoons of sweet chili sauce. So I'm just literally going to put that in. So like Jess said before, if you one of the things that because of all the sensors in it now, that if you do get, I'm a bit under because I just used to even chicken breast, which is fine. But if you're around that 500 grams, it will automatically tick it off for you, so you can move on to the next ingredient. And then we're going to add in 3 teaspoons of sweet chili, and I'm not going to measure that out because it's just how I cook. And then we've got it set for 2 minutes and speed soft on high heat. So I'm going to pop the lid on. So when you're in a imported recipe like this, we just have to go out to the modes at the moment to do high heat, but it will save exactly where we're up to. So I'll show you. So we're just going to use the little arrow up the top. It's going to take us back to the front, and then one more. And then we are going to go to the home screen, manual mode. Oh no, sorry, hang on, wrong one. The blades, which brings up the mode symbol. And then we are going to do the browning. So we're just going to set it for us. So again, we scroll this up and down, whereas we're used to turning the dial. There are quick minutes or quick seconds, whatever, depending on what you're doing, obviously temperature as well, that you can put in. So I'm just going to, so it's set for 10 minutes. I'm going to reset down the bottom. Let me do it. A minute, maybe not. And we're just going to go 2 minutes. 160 again is that high heat for our high heat mode. And then it's got 2 options here, which are gentle and intense. So if you go into the show tips up the side here, it's going to just explain what they are. So it's just saying that for the gentle one, you're popping in your bit of oil and your like your meat or your vegetables, whatever you want to cook. But in the intense option, you're going to preheat it first, and it'll give you an even more intense brown. So okay, back to what I said, if I press play, and it'll set for us. So that's 2 minutes. Where is it saying it? Sorry, up the top here. 2 minutes on the high heat mode. And then from there, we can scroll back. I'll show you afterwards. Back from the top, if we open that up, like Jess said, that's our cooking center. So our Thai style chicken and cashews is still there, which we can pick up on in a minute. But then it's also just adding in our browning mode here now too. So that's got it set 1:30, and it's sizzling away there now. You probably can't hear on Zoom, but that is heating up and cooking for us while we're free to do something else. So let's go back to Jess.
All right, so mine is done there. I'll just show you here. That's our chicken and our sauce all cooked with our veggies. You'll notice too with the insulated bowl, this is really hardly even warm. So it's really good to touch when I know that the contents is still really hot. So now we're just going to add in the dried pasta. So we need 300 grams of that. So I'll add that straight in. Okay. So I think if it's within about 3 grams, it'll tick itself off. So let's do that, and I'll go next. So now it's telling me to stir with the spatula. So I'm just going to stir that in. So I'm just trying to really push all the pasta down into the sauce, so it's all nicely covered with the sauce. So that should do. Go next. Now we're going to cook it without the lid. So this is one of the new modes here. So it's just saying here on the screen that we've got to do the time indicator on the packet, gently stirring the pasta a couple of times. So I did forget to look at that. Where does it say here on the packet? Anyway, we'll do it for about 9 minutes, I reckon. So we'll click on here to set the time. So again, we'll just scroll up. We'll go 9 minutes. Press play. So now it is going to start cooking. So you can't hear it at all, because neither can I, but it's starting to bubble up now. but we're just going to cook it without the lid on, which is a very foreign concept, but that's okay. And what it's also saying now is while that is cooking, just to pop in some spinach leaves into a thermoserver. So I've already done that here, just ready for when the pasta is cooked. But yeah, we're just letting it cook away. I can probably just lift my.
We might come back once it really starts bubbling up and have a look.
So you can just see it is cooking, but we'll come back when it's bubbling up.
But without the lid.
That's right.
Fun. All right, so let's go over to Adele. I think she's ready to pop her buns on.
I am ready. Okay, so I've put 600 grams of water into my bowl. I'm just going to quickly, I might even just pick this up to show you because it's going to be a bit easier than trying to slide my bao buns around. So you can see that I can fit 6 on the top and I've got 5 on the bottom here. So this will go on top of there and they fit pretty comfortably. So I ended up cutting it down by 1. I know I said I was going to have 12, but I wanted to make them a little bit bigger because perks of this job is that this is going to be my husband's lunch for tomorrow. So I thought I'll make them just a little bit bigger than little bite-sized ones. So we're now going to steam for 25 minutes. So I'm going to pop this on top. My water is already in the bowl. 25 minutes. I need my lid. And it's as simple as pressing play. So this is what we call hands-free cooking. I've already got the filling prepared, but if I didn't, that could be what I was moving on to next. But if you've already prepared the filling for something like this, or you're making these ahead of time to use later, 25 minutes is a lot of time that you have to, I don't know, if you've got kids or, you know, you're picking them up from school, maybe you've done this in the afternoon before pickup, or you're cleaning the house, you're setting the table, you're doing bath time. Hands-free cooking is hands down one of the things that I love the most about my Thermomix. So yeah, it's as simple as that. They're going to steam all on their own, and then when it's done, it's done.
Awesome, thank you.
No
all
worries.
Right, I'm going to come back over here for a minute. So that is finished now. So again, so now to get back out, because we're in, remember, the browning mode, because we're using that for high heat. So to go back to the recipe, we're just going to pull down our cooking center and just tap that and take us back to exactly where we were, which was putting that chicken in. So we're just going to hit next. And into there now we are going to place our sauce ingredients. So we're going to put in 100 grams of oyster sauce. I'm going to be a bit under, but that's okay. Get it all out. So ticking that off, and then 50 grams of soy. Ticking that one off, 50 grams of raw sugar. And then a brown onion just cut into A. So I've just done that. So I'll pop that in there. You can also, if you want to, I'll probably add them. We'll have this dinner tomorrow night again, perks of the job, like Adele just said. But you can add some veggies in now if you wanted to as well. So you could add some broccoli or some carrots, capsicum, whatever you like. I'm just going to do it tomorrow because I find that reheating, they're just a bit nicer if they're freshly steamed. So I'll steam them before dinner tomorrow night. But now, again, just telling us to pop the lid back on. And this time it's got 5 minutes on high heat. So we're just going to do exactly the same thing, but this time it'll be a bit easier for us to go back to. So we're just going to hit the back button and it comes automatically up as our mode screen. So we're going to go into browning. And again, just change it for 5 minutes. And press play. And that will start there for us. So while that is going, we might just go back and have a look at Jess's open cooking and see how that's going. And then we're going to run through a few other little things.
Yeah, cool. So it is still going. I did find on the box that the pasta needed 11 minutes. So I just really quickly jumped back on the toggle for the time and I just increased it by 2 and it kept cooking the whole way through. So, but without trying to make everyone seasick, if you can just kind of see in there, It's just bubbling away like it would if it was just on the stove in a pot. So it's just cooking away nicely. The blades aren't moving. It's me that has to stir it around a couple of times. I don't really need to do it that often either, just a couple of times while it's cooking. And otherwise it's just bubbling away there, which is really cool. So as you can see, like down here on the screen, it's just saying that we pretty much just have to wait for the thermix to finish. So if I scroll down, I can look at my next steps. But this is virtually the last step, is just cooking it all together. So we can just, while it's cooking away, we can just be turning it, make sure they're even cooking, make sure that we're just getting all that pasta in the sauce so that it's cooking. But otherwise it's, yeah, open lid cooking now, which is very cool.
So fun. I'd love to know, those of you with the TM6 or TM5 or 31 in the chat box, let us know, what do you think of open lid cooking? I know I was blown away, and yeah, it's great. Like, things that you think about, the things that you could do with open lid cooking, like you know, it makes pastas a lot easier. You don't have to break up your spaghetti or fettuccine, that kind of thing. Poached eggs, I've seen people do. Yeah, there's quite a few different pasta recipes. But it does open the door to allow a lot of other things, which is really fun. Anything else you wanted to cover there, Jess? Or
I don't think so. I think I have covered everything that I can think of right now.
Awesome. So I'd love you guys to pop in the chat box and let me know. Do you have any specific questions that you would like us to cover? Anything you want to know about the TM6 that you haven't yet seen or heard about, or you're curious about? TM6, it's going to take you a long time to get used to that. TM7, I should say. Pop it in the chat box and let me know, because I'm happy to run through everything. We've got a few minutes cooking here and with the other girls, and then they're pretty much done for tonight. So yeah, pop in the chat box if you do have any things, and we will cover them. But yeah, moving back to, I suppose, the specifics of it, you probably have seen now, you might be able to see on the side here, we have a bit of a lever. So where the previous models, we opened the base, it can be a bit tricky to kind of unhook the base and get the blades out and everything like that. Now there is just a lever that you slide across that kind of disconnects it all. So then you are able to pull the bowl out. The bowl itself looks very similar to the previous model bowls, just without the handle, and sits inside the insulated casing, and then the blades come out that way as well. What else was I going to talk to you about? Going back to the home. Yeah, so like I said, you can adjust all of this to suit you. If I go down into settings, do it upside down, which can be a little bit harder. Just, no, that's not the one I was looking for. It's not there. Anyway, somewhere there. You can change that home screen around. But yeah, like I said, I like to have it so that I can see what I'm cooking for the week. But perhaps if you're not a meal planner and haven't, planned out, but like to, just kind of get different ideas as you're going, you can change it to suit that, or you can have just, your time, temperature, and speed manual options there as well. So there's a few different settings you can have. And then your week is very similar to normal. You can see once it loads, it'll be a little bit slow while I'm on Zoom, but my whole week will be planned out in there, like these recipes, the tutorials and help. Much like the TM6, there's lots of different videos that you can watch on your TM7 that will show you how to shape rolls and how to do all kinds of different things nice and easily. So they are all either built into your Cookie-Doo recipes or available in tutorials and help as well.
We've got a couple of questions, Erin.
Oh, yes, please go. Can you read them out to me?
Are there many vegetarian recipes?
Yes, absolutely, heaps. Let's do a search. So we can go into Cookie-Doo and we can even just search and try and spell it upside down. Here we go. But also, if you want to have a look and have a little play, you can sign up and do a 30-day free trial with Cookie-Doo as well. So then you can, look for vegetarian recipes or whatever suits you, and have a little bit of a play with it and make sure there are lots of different recipes that would suit you and your family. So yeah, I've just popped in vegetarian there, and you can see a few different ones that have come up: vegetarian sausage rolls, vegetarian chili, pizza. What else have we got? Quiche. Well, how many did it give me? I should look at.
And you can also search on ingredients that you don't want included too. So if there's a
Yeah,
particular
absolutely.
or just something that your family don't really like, you can put that ingredient in and it'll give you recipes for whatever category you want that don't include that ingredient.
Yeah. So that gave me 6,492 vegetarian recipes just by putting that in. But like Adele said, then you can narrow it down further by categories. You can, by the time that, like the length of time you want to spend cooking, portion sizes and all kinds of things. So lots of different options there. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you are thinking about it, to sign up. You just do it through the cookiedoo.com.au. Make sure you've got the AU on the end. You can do a 30-day free trial and have a bit of a play and see all of the different recipes, all the different options and things you can do there. All right. And what was the next question? Is there a foolproof way to poach eggs? Maybe we're going to have to do that together, Chloe. Absolutely. I have to admit that I have not done it in the TM7 yet without the lid. I have seen, Brooke, are you on here tonight? I did see you come in earlier. Brooke did it during the week. If you're on, Brooke, let us know how it went. But yes, there are, again, like it's simple as popping in poached eggs as part of Cookiedoo, and that will tell you exactly step by step of what to do. I did do it in the TM6 where you could add in your your egg through the hole in the lid, but this time without the lid, it makes it a little bit easier again. I'm just going to slow down that my high heat is finished there, so I'm going to go back to my recipe. And we're going to do next. And then the last step of this, depending on if the chicken is cooked or not, so I might need to add a little bit more time. Oh, it's looking delicious. I'm going to try and show you without. I'm just going to tilt this back. So I'm not sure if we mentioned it earlier, the back foot of your TM7 is a glider foot. So you can just tilt it and slide it backwards. So you don't need the glider board like you had in the TM6. So that is that chicken mix cooked away there. I don't know if you can see how beautifully it's browned. I actually did just put it on the maximum brown on that one, just for fun, because I hadn't used that yet, to be honest. And it worked really well, so that is good to know. Before on the TM6, we only had just high heat was high heat. So to know that there's two options, a gentle one and then like a maximum temperature is awesome too. So in there
Brooke,
now.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say Brooks just answered. She said that it was much easier with the open lid for the poached eggs.
Well, there you go. I'm going to I'll have a go at it on the weekend, Chloe, and I'll let you know. So then we are just going to add in 100 grams of cashew nuts to finish this off. So I've got my scales turned. And then, so again, 1 minute on my heat. So putting the lid back on. And obviously you would have noticed as well by now that there's no splash guard on the TM7 as well. Let me start this and then I'll keep it cooking. Oops, wrong way. So we're just going to go back out to the mode screen. Into browning. And we're just going to put 1 more minute on it. And then, yeah, there was the gentle and the intense. So I had it on the intense for the last one. Now I've lost my train of thought of what I was going to say there. What was I saying, Adele? Help me out. So yes, like I said, with this recipe, you can add extra veggies and things as well. You could serve it with some rice, which is what we will have it with tomorrow night. And you can use your thermo server too. So how I would normally do this is I would cook the rice first, pop that in my thermo server to keep it hot, and then cook this and do all the other things while I'm hands-free to be doing them. All right, so let's pop over to Jess and see how that pasta is cooking.
Yep, so the pasta is going really well. I just tried a bit because openly cooking I could. And I just felt I just needed a couple more minutes. So I have just put on another 2 minutes. So it's got about 30 seconds to go of my extra 2 minutes. But you'll see here, I'll just lift up the camera again. Oh, sorry. You can see in there that it's still bubbling away. And it's actually got, the sauce has got a fair bit thicker as the pasta is soaked in some of the sauce. So it's, yeah, it's smelling delicious. And I would say this extra 2 minutes, it'll definitely be done. There we go.
There's another feature, Jess. When it is open lid cooking, you can put the lid on if you want to retain heat, and it won't like pause or play like it normally would when you take the lid off for cooking.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
So that's an option too for people that want to pop the lid on.
So yeah, so this is my first go of open lid cooking, as you can tell. But there we go. So that is the pasta beautifully cooked. So because it's been open lid cooking, all the pasta is completely intact. It hasn't been mushed up by the blades or anything like that, which has often happened in the past for some people. So we'll finish that one. We'll go on, and it just says transfer the pasta into the bowl with the spinach and stir to combine. And then we are going to serve. It's ready to serve. So just sprinkle it with some Parmesan and we are done. So I'll show you we're getting there, but that is our beautiful Marry Me chicken pasta.
And
as
a
we
great
said
point
before,
Sorry.
definitely no, like the bowl isn't very hot at all. So yeah,
Awesome.
easy
Thanks,
to pick
Jen.
up and serve.
That's a great point by Adele. I made the pasta for dinner tonight, but we had to duck out to kids' sport. So I popped the lid on for the last little bit of it, and then I left it in there as well. The insulated bowl also means that it will stay beautiful and hot as well. So I popped the lid on, and when we got back from netball, it was ready to eat, which is perfect. Another bonus of hands-free cooking, that you can just walk away or head off and come back to a finished meal.
I'll just point out here too, this is the what we're talking about before, to release the blade. That's our little bit there on the side of the bowl. See, my bowl's finished and I can pick it up.
Awesome. Right, I will let you
yeah.
play up there, Jess, and I'll
No
finish
worries.
mine. I think Adele's you've still got a little bit of time left on yours, don't you, Adele?
Yeah, I've got just over 8 minutes, but they are
Yeah.
looking amazing.
Perfect. We might just have to get one out early so that we're not keeping everybody all night, but that's okay. All right, so mine is finished there as well. So try not to tip it out loud on the bench. You can see that there. So I'm just going to transfer it into a bowl so you can see. But a super, super quick and easy meal with only a couple of steps. But like I said, you can add some veggies and things into it as well if you want to. So probably quicker, I know in my town, quicker than getting Chinese takeaway, that's for sure. So guys, if you are interested in getting the TM7 in your kitchen, you just need to be aware that there is a bit of a back order at the moment. It has been so popular. We are now up to an August dispatch on our TM7. So we do expect it to have some further delays. We won't catch up straight away. The team, like I said earlier, have started getting customers TM7s out to them as of now. But yeah, there is a bit of a backlog from those pre-orders and everybody getting so super excited for them, which is very exciting. So if you are interested in getting one, please reach out to your consultant and they can help you get one sooner rather than later. Because yeah, like I said, if you continue, if you order later in the year, there is a chance that there will be further delays. If you are interested in joining the team, that is how you can get your TM7 a bit quicker. So even if you've already ordered your TM7, if you decide to join the team, we can get that expedited to you. Or if you join the team on our Earn program. So if you sell 6 demo mixes in your first 60 days as a consultant, you can earn your TM7 for free as well. So as you guys are probably all aware, we all love being part of the team, and we would love to have you on the team as well. So if it's something you are interested in, please reach out and let us know. We would love to have you. And come along and learn. That's a little jig to finish my recipe. come along and learn all about the TM7 with us. And I think one of the perks of the job is that we really learn all there is to learn about the TM7 or the Thermomix, and we really get the most out of it. So that is an absolute bonus that we would love to share with you. So I think we're just about finished. We'll go back to Jess and then we'll go and see Adele and we'll wrap it up. But thank you so much for joining us. This is my Chinese style chicken and cashew nut. We'll go and see Jess's Miami chicken pasta and then we'll finish it all up.
All right, so here is my Marry Me chicken pasta before I send it all on the ground. So it's made a fair bit. I've already got a bowl of it here. And then nearly a full thermo server as well. So it does make a lot, but it smells, and I have tasted it. It tastes delicious.
So good.
That is there. So that was
Yeah.
really simple. And like we always say, I didn't really have to be here for much of it. A lot of it, most of that was all hands-free cooking.
Yeah, we do a lot of talking in these virtuals. I think you kind of sometimes lose track of how much hands-free time there actually is.
That's right.
Perfect. All right. Thanks so much, Jess. Could you please just remind us where we can find you on Instagram and Facebook?
Yep. So I am Thermi Life on the Farm on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much for cooking with us tonight for our first ever TM7 class. Let's go over to Adele.
Hello. So my fillings, I did some apple and carrot julienne, cucumber, chili, and coriander. Sorry to the coriander haters out there. And I also cooked up some crispy chicken earlier today because we had some chicken that needed using. And I'm just using a store-bought sriracha mayo. But do they not look delicious?
They actually look amazing.
I've popped out an extra one. You can see they puff up quite a bit. And that bit of oil in the middle means that they open up nicely without sticking to itself. So yeah, I'm stoked. They're very, very cool.
They are. Guess what I'm adding to my week next week.
I'm going to be wife of the week or year.
Yeah, you better be. Awesome. Thank you so much for cooking with us tonight, Adele. Guys, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat box before we finish up. But Adele, where can we find you on Instagram and Facebook?
So I do have Facebook, but I'm mostly on Instagram. My handle is at homemakerhaven.blog.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I'm just going to come back here. So again, that is my Chinese style chicken and cashew nut. So an absolute super quick and easy meal that utilizes that browning function on the TM7, which we can now do manually, and I'm very excited about. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I am Thermo Loving Mum on Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to follow any of us along and see what else we are cooking in our TM7, we would love that. But thank you very much for joining us for our first TM7 class. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to your consultant. They would love to help you. But hopefully we will see you at another virtual class again soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Alice.